Hi everybody, this is Christina at Scrapcraft and Stitchery, and it is March 16th, and it is time for Masterboard Madness. This is March Masterboard Madness. This is hosted by Hazel Inaka of Hazel Inaka Designs, and she has collected 34 different creators to come together and show you what they do with masterboards, how they make them, everything you ever want to know about masterboard you can probably find out about during the month of March. So follow the hashtag. I'm going to tell you today my favorite thing to do with masterboards is making journal covers. I love to make journals out of masterboards. I don't know, I just love the way that they look. So this is a small journal, and it is kind of a small little folio. It's got pages in it. It's got wrapping paper on the inside, but the outside of this is made of a masterboard, and it is a little bit of book page, a whole lot of the inside of security envelopes. I inked around each one of these to make them stand out with a marker. And some stamps and stuff on there as well. But that's that little journal that I've made. This is a hardcover book that I covered in a masterboard that I made, and I've decorated with some lace and some other things. But that's what that one looks like. Do you recognize this picture? There is, I found a piece of Charlotte's Web out on the street while I was living in Seattle. It was torn up, and I was like, oh great, I know what to do with this, and now it's on my journal cover. This is another one. This is pieces of just copy paper that I stamped or inked the edges of, and then there's just a little bit of, and then there's a few scraps of whatever this is called, jelly print on here. And this is just a notebook that I made. It's got a piece of scrapbooking paper. It's got some different things in here. I've done some writing in here, making some notes. Again, another masterboard that I made and turned into another notebook, which I have not used this one at all. Just kind of a fun little thing that I did one day. It was super easy. More recently, I just made this. This is my idea journal, and it has also a different masterboard, and it has a lot of, these are just big pieces that I had glued down, but I really liked this and turned that in, and I'm gonna make this journal again today. This is my idea book, so I can kind of keep just different ideas in here. I haven't filled it up yet. I made this recently, actually. I have a few things going on in here, but I will fill this up with, big ideas for my junk journals. But I'm gonna make this journal today. I will make a masterboard, and I'm going to assemble this whole journal. This is the same journal. It's got a soft binding. I'm going to use this for Happy Mail. And the thing about this masterboard that I've made is I made it all out of Happy Mail, things that people have sent to me to use in my junk journals. And I pulled all of those things out today and put them together and made this beautiful masterboard and made a journal. And I have some birthday cards because it's my birthday at the end of this month. People have been sending me very generously birthday cards, and I'm going to put them in this journal. But right now, I'll show you how I made it. So come along with me and see what I made. I do really like this pink, although I don't think it really goes with the red. So, hi everybody, this is Christina at Scrapcraft and Stitchery, and I'm super excited today because I am participating in hashtag Masterboard Madness 2026. And this is hosted by Hazel Inaka Designs, and she asked me to participate. In the last year I did an interview with her, which is really great, and she does Heart to Heart with Hazel. If you haven't seen her, on Wednesday nights. I think it starts at 6:30 Central Time, which is my time, so that's what I'm going to tell you. And so check that out. She has this list of 34 people who are posting videos in March for Masterboard Madness, and I have been kind of hemming and hawing and not really sure what I was going to do with this, but I think I have finally decided, because it's kind of last minute and I need to decide. And this was not at all what I had meant to do. But I'm gonna make a masterboard out of things. Guys, these are all, these things that I'm sorting through right now as you're watching are all pages, are all things that I've received in Happy Mail. Now, on my to-do list is, hopefully before I receive any more Happy Mail, but it is my birthday, so in March, and my birthday is coming up, so yeah, I am probably going to be getting some more Happy Mail, and I want to have a place to keep, like, people include, I'm very, very fortunate in that this is all written in German. That's very cool. But people have been really, really kind and sent me some wonderful things. As you can see, I have just tons and tons and tons of Happy Mail that I can choose from to include on a masterboard that then I can use to cover a journal. And is what I'm thinking that's going to look like is, maybe this is a cool instruction manual. Sorry, I should not be doing this while I'm trying to talk. But I'm going to make a masterboard. I'm going to turn it into a friend's journal, and I'm going to use that to then store my, when I get things like this, I want to have a place to put them. Look at these. These are cool. That might be kind of fun as a journal topper. I'm not really sure what we've gotten here. We might make, we'll see what we come up with. This would also be a very pretty kind of a, but I love this and this, and I think they would look very good together. And this is a magazine page out of, it looks like maybe a fashion magazine, maybe just out of, I don't know. Well, anyway, I don't think I'm going to find out by looking at that. But I pulled out all of these things that I can kind of put back together to make a journal cover, because I do like to make, that looks a little more too vintage for this. Okay, did I pull these things aside? Where did I put the, oh, these were the things I had that I kind of wanted to include. I like that it pulls out the green from this. I think that I'm kind of basing this off of, I think these two things will look together and will go together, and the other things, like this, I think pulls the green out of this piece, and I think this will also add some really fun texture and stuff. This will be kind of not vintage, it'll be kind of an eclectic modern glue book kind of a thing. But these other things kind of are tending towards being fairly neutral. I loved this because I was just thinking about when I went to Ireland and for Killarney. So I need to find something to back these onto, which is probably what I like to generally use, is some book page. The other thing I need to do is stop and think about how big I want this book to be, and I probably want it to be like around 9 by 6. So I'm just gonna glue 3 of these together to make one really big masterboard. We'll have some left over, I'm thinking. So these are book pages, and I have just glued them together here. These are just left over from another project, and I'm just going to use this as a background paper for my masterboard. And you can make your masterboard on whatever paper. I mean, you can use a piece of scrapbooking paper that you don't like the print of. I might, now if I'm worried about this, these are pages that I tore out of the center of a signature in a book to make an altered book. And what I might do here, if I'm worried about that and I want to reinforce that, is I might just take a piece of this and I can go ahead and patch that with another piece. And then I'll just reinforce that. This is going to be a book cover. I think it will be fine. But let's just glue that down. Today I'm going to work with matte medium, and I'm going to use that to glue all of my items down. I like this because it's going to give me a cool kind of feeling and finish to my cover. Using matte medium or an artist finish will give me kind of a nice cool feeling to my finished masterboard. I'm just going to kind of glue that down and then go back over it and get those edges glued down. Okay, so what I've done is I have created a stack of things, which I think should be more than enough for my masterboard. So this is some book page that I had, and I just glued it together, and then it was 2 pages, it was folios from a book, and I glued 2 of them together, and then I glued where that was torn out of the book in the center. I just glued another bit of book page over the top of this. That was probably not going to be necessary because I think that will be fine. And this is about 15 inches by 12 inches. This should give me way more than enough to make a front and a back cover for my book. And I'll make that out of, junk. But I'm just going to start gluing the things down. So what I've done is these are all the neutral pieces that I had, and I'll probably kind of put those around the edges and then add in this magazine page that's got this beautiful mosaic and this black and white coloring book page, I guess it was. And the coloring book page had these like really graphic lettering things on this, and I will probably put these over the top of this. Either after I finished my cover or at the end on my masterboard. I want those to kind of pop out at the top is what I'm thinking for this. So I'm just gonna start gluing these things down, and that's just kind of my scrapbook page. And I'll probably kind of start with some of the neutral papers and then adding in some of these more graphic design kind of papers as I go along. And I have this huge kind of eclectic mix over here of fun and exciting things. So I'm just gonna start. These might get a little wrinkly. I am going to go ahead and put this matte medium down on the front and the back to kind of get it really glued down well. just overlapping these as I go along. So now I am putting this down with wet medium, and you can use like some lightly watered down Elmer's glue, maybe like 2 parts glue to 1 part water. You can kind of play around with that until you're happy. Putting that in a jar and painting it on this way is pretty quick and easy. It's a very satisfying way to do this. So that's how I'm doing this. There's not a lot of matte medium in the bottom of this jar, and that is part of the reason why I'm using this today. Also, I just really like using it this way. See if I can find some little sheet. I guess I can make one. Look at that. That guy gotta go on there. That guy gotta go on there someplace good where we can see him. Look at that. Woohoo! Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take this and put it right here to fill this space, which is kind of probably not going to be too big into our background anyway. Start filling in with little tiny pieces around. Where are we gonna put this guy? I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense. We already know that our plan is to cut this up when we're done. That we're going to cut this up, and we don't know where these pieces are going to land. So it doesn't behoove us too much to try and save, this, that, or whatever. Because what it does is really, you want to kind of keep spreading things out. I am trying to get this edge covered here. I am trying to do that. I am trying to get just a layer going of stuff that's maybe not super interesting, so I can save my maybe more interesting pieces for not right on the edge. As you can see, I have finished putting together my masterboard, and I really like the way this looks. I like the way that the green contrasts. I like how it kind of blends in with the colors in this piece, because there is some green in there, and I felt like that really went together. I like this bold black and white, and I really think that that kind of pops out on this, and I like how it's very collage-y and very I don't know, it looks like my desk. It looks like my desk of scraps. And I love this for this cover. And so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut a piece of this for the front and the back. So what I do want to do with this is just trim this edge. Oh, look at that. Brilliant. This edge is not exactly straight because I've kind of overlapped it. So I do want to just kind of cut that so I have a straight edge for measuring this. Great. And look at this. We can cut this down with this. Brilliant. Okay. There we go. It's fine. What is going on back here? We've got all kinds of things stuck on the back of our masterboard tonight. Okay. 14. Probably don't even really need to do this. Okay. So why don't we just cut this at, what did I say, 7? Now, when you are cutting, you are definitely going to keep this. I mean, you can make this into a bookmark or tag. These smaller pieces, I'll probably sew right onto these, and I will definitely be keeping those as well. So I am, for this, just kind of looking. I want to keep the most interesting parts for my cover. So like this guy. Okay, this is what our book is going to look like. This is fabulous. Okay, I'm gonna, those are not quite the same, are they? That's okay. They're not quite the same. That's fine. So now I'm going to cut down, I have some just cereal box I'm going to cut down and make some covers. So I have cut just, this is a cereal box, down to 9 by 6. This will be the covers for my journal. And I'm just gonna, this should attach, there should be about a 1/2 inch margin all the way around here. And I'm going to attach these. These are like super not thick. Really, in the whole scheme of things, I could go ahead and if I wanted this thicker, add like a couple of these and just layer them up like this and glue these together, and that would give me, I could do 3 or 4 of these. I'm just going to do these 2 just like this today, and I am going to use my Lineco pH neutral PVA glue. You can use any PVA glue. You could probably, if you really were in a pinch, do this with a glue stick. I use glue sticks, I push it all the time. This is my paintbrush. I'm just pulling it out of my gesso that I was using to do my Masterboard. You could go a little bit farther if you wanted to, and continue to decorate your masterboard in any way that you wanted. You could sew over the top of this if you so desired to put some stitching. You could do some stamping. You could do some stenciling. You could put texture paste over the top of this. At this point, before or after you put this onto the cover, that's that one. And let's go ahead and put this second one. I'm not sure if that's stuck down all of the way. Is what I'm going to do after I glue these together is I am going to put some of these leftover pieces of this really graphic black and white paper back on top of this, and I want to wait until I've glued this down and I have the finished piece before I do that, just so I can see where they're going to land. And those were just some of the pieces that I had kept from that one coloring book page. That I'm going to use as focal points on my cover. Boy, I will tell you that this gluing business is just, oh my goodness, terrible for my, there's matte medium everywhere now. Clean that up. Terrible for my manicure. It has pulled paint right off my nails today. One of the things that I really like about this cover, and the fact that it's so kind of modern collage looking, is that it feels like maybe it just feels very, I don't know, teenage high school to me. And I don't know, that is just, when would you have a journal? When would you have friends and want to have mementos from friends? It just kind of is this callback to, like, maybe, I don't know, like a high school yearbook for me. For some reason, that's just how this feels to me, so I really, really like this. So now we have two masterboards. These will be like the front and the back cover. And what I'm going to do now is I think, going to at this stage add back in these things. So I think this is going to be my back cover, and I just have these few pieces that I have held back of this really bold graphic. And what I want to do here is add these back on and maybe do a little bit of, I just thought these would be fun to add back in as like, so I have these elements that I have fussy cut out of my original color book sheet before I used the rest of it up. And I'm going to add those pieces back onto here for just kind of some interest for the cover. I think that that's going to really kind of pop out and make this really fun. So I just need to put these things on. I also have like a piece here left. Might as well use up, you know, a lot of this. But I wanted to make sure that these things kind of, I really liked these items. I really wanted to kind of make them show up. And make sure they didn't get cut off when I cut my masterboard up. So I think I actually like where these things are at. So I think I'm gonna just put them down. And I'm using clear gesso at this point because my matte medium is gone. And I can just go ahead and add these right onto here. Whoop. So I am looking for a spine for my book, and I have these two papers, and they're kind of thin, one-sided scrapbooking papers. And I think I'm going to use this one. I kind of thought about using this one. I think this could be really fun. I would like it if it was a little younger looking, given the fact. So I think I'm going to use this. So I'm going to do a 3-inch, because this is a journal that I'm going to use for Happy Mail. So I'm going to be putting a lot of like just probably, I mean, people send me tags, and people send me like a lot of different things. Like I have like right now a lot of birthday cards. So I want to have a lot of room for this to expand. So like with my idea journal, what I've done is I have this 3-inch spine, and it's just a piece of scrapbooking paper layered with a coffee filter, layered with this, this is just decorative. This is just some tissue paper on top that I stamped on. But there's a coffee filter in the inside, and then I quilted it, sewn it together with my sewing machine. And so, and that makes a pretty sturdy binding that is also kind of allows your book to squish pretty flat, but then it has a lot of room to grow and to expand. So because I want to put a lot of things in here that are probably going to be bulky, like birthday cards, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut probably a 6-inch strip. So that'll give me 3 inches for the spine, and then 3 inches for spine and 3 inches for an 1.5 inches on each side to attach. So what I'm thinking is I want this to go the whole top and bottom of my journal. Oops. And I'm gonna fold this over at the top and the bottom rather than cutting it off. I'm just gonna fold it over so that top and that bottom edge are a little bit stronger. And that will give me, I'm just folding like right underneath that edge. So that'll be like twice as strong there. And then, oh, see, I can't see. So fold it this way. Again, I'm folding it like right under that line. And again, that way. Okay. All right. And so now I'm going to score. Use my scoring tool. And I'm going to score 1.5 inches in, and then that'll be 3 inches. So I'm going to score at 1.5 inches, I guess, and at 4.5. That other bone folder is just so thick. It's never going to get in there. Okay. 6, 5, and 4.5. Okay. So this is going to give us this really nice big spine, and then that will give us plenty of room to attach our spine to our book. I do need to reinforce the inside of this, and so you can start to think about if you want to do that. You could glue a piece of fabric onto here. That would be a really great way to do that and make this stronger. What other options? Like, I have a whole bunch of coffee filters like this. These are for my pour over coffee filter. And these actually are pretty strong, and I like to use them because I have them. And I think this may be actually what I go ahead and use again, because I've used it in the past. But again, I mean, you could use a piece of fabric for this. Fabric would be a really good choice because that's going to make this really strong. And then, and you can use any fabric you have, fabric you don't necessarily like that you want to use. I am gonna glue that down onto the top of there. I might sew this, I'm not really sure. But I'm going to cut this then, and I'm going to double this up. So this is like a double sheet. I'm going to double this up and put a double layer on there. Yeah, but you could do this with like an Amazon package, like an Amazon envelope. You could probably use like just a piece of manila folder or something that's like, you want something that's strong and sturdy. And the other thing that I did was, you may want to layer this again with a piece of tissue paper or something, just something decorative. The coffee filters, I think, look I like the coffee filters. They also feel kind of like this cross between paper and fabric. It's just really lovely, lovely. I like that a lot. I do think that like the other one I did quilt. Basically, I just sewed around on it. So I'm just applying glue to the back of my spine, and I am going to go ahead and glue in this coffee filter, and it has 2 different layers because it's folded in half. So I'm just making sure that that gets glued in nice and tight, and then I'm folding the top inch of the paper over the top of that to kind of reinforce that a little bit at the top and bottom. So this is gloss medium varnish, which I am just going to add liberally to the cover of this. This will make this a little bit shiny. Right now it's very matte, it's very cool. We like it a lot. I'm just going to use that to... I do think that adding this layer of varnish to the top of this really does make the end product really much nicer. Gives it a nicer feel. It makes it feel more finished. Highly recommend. Highly recommend that. So again, setting this aside to dry. So while my cover is drying, I am going to go ahead and mark my spine so that I have 5 signatures that I'm going to put into this 3-inch spine. And so I'm just marking along the bottom, 1 inch from the bottom. I've got it marked off there at 1 inch up, at every 1/2 inch along my spine, starting at a 1/2 inch in from the edge of the spine there. And that is the magical part of using a 3-inch spine and 5 signatures, is you get this really easy math. This will space everything out. So 3 inches, you can go every 1/2 inch. So, and then I've marked it at 4.5 inches because I have a 9-inch spine, so that'll be right in the center. And I will mark the top again, an inch from the, this is an inch from the top of my journal. And I'm going over this in some gold pen because I wasn't quite sure I could see those black marks on this black and white paper. Okay, so now we need to mark, and I'm just going to mark one of these. And we've made this very large indeed. Probably could have gone, there's like a 1/2 inch at the top and the bottom. Okay, that's fine. And I'm just going to mark this one right there, and right there. So I'm just going to paper clip this up real quick. I do want to check and make sure that all of these pages are going right up into the middle, and they align at the top and the bottom nice and neatly where I want them, because this is where they're going to live from now on. So now I'm going to open this up like this, and I'm going to take my awl, and I am going to just turn that fold right like that. So these signatures are 6 pages of coffee dyed paper. I want to keep this journal. Normally I would kind of put a mix of papers in here, but for this, because of the potentially very eclectic nature of this journal anyway, I'm just going to use really simple papers, like I might for a writing journal. So that's the first one of those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that one and I'm going to use that one to go ahead as a guide for all of my other signatures. Okay. I live for this, guys. I absolutely live for making journals like this. I just really love this so much. It's going to be a nice big old fat journal. I'm really super happy to be making this friends journal, this happy mail journal, because like look here, I did not do a very good job and it kind of got it off. And I'm just going to make that hole a little bit bigger. It's going to be a big hole. That's okay. Put that right back in there. And let's go ahead and poke these holes. Right along here. Now, you can either sew your signatures onto here, or you can sew this into your, you could sew this into your book. That would be nice and sturdy. Or you can go ahead and glue this into your book at this stage. Either way, I think is fine. Are you dry enough? I think you're dry enough. So you can see this is maybe a little bit shiny. That is our masterboard. I love this. I love this like graphic paper I used. I think it came out really cool. I like it a lot. The question is do I want to add anything to this? I probably should have done it before I varnished it. I could still ink this, the edges of this, if I wanted to. It's still a little sticky. It'll dry eventually. I'm just going to glue this on. So this will be my front, this will be my back. I'm looking at this guy right here. This is hilarious to me. So I'm looking at this guy and he's facing off away, so I feel like he should be facing into the book, so that'll be the back. I am loving this book. I have been making things kind of a little more modern, I guess, lately, and it just feels really fun and good to me. So I'm really enjoying this. Let's see. How about some of this? Book binding glue. And this will glue together and be just fine. You do want to get something in here that you feel like is going to hold your book together, though. And we want to get all the way across that edge. We want to get this. This is going to be holding our cover on. We want this to be nice and strong right up to that edge. And again, I think This is actually easier. We haven't put the pages in yet. And we're going to cover this right after we put these pages in. We'll cover this front and back. This is getting so close! Oh my gosh! Oh, I'm so excited. Okay. I am so excited! I love using Masterboards as covers. Love it. Okay. I just think they look so fun. And they're all kind of different. Who out there, leave me a note. Let me know if you've done this before. Have you covered a journal and just used a masterboard to cover a journal? I do it kind of a lot, honestly. I have one right there. Yes, I do. I think this is what I do mainly with this. Look at how big this book is gonna be. Huge. It's gonna be so big. Okay. If you haven't done this before, okay, I like to start at the back because I do. You're gonna go 1, 2, 3. That should be plenty. That's lengths of the book, of course. From here to here. You just need 3 lengths of your book, and you're going to get a big old, this is a nice needle, it's short, it's got a big eye, and it is blunt. This is just some nice thick sewing thread. Okay, and I'm just going to show you one of these, and then I will come back at the end, but I'll show you the first one. And so this is a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, so you can start on the inside or the outside. I generally like to start on the inside. And you're going to go through the middle, through this, into this middle hole, and I'm doing the back first, and I'll work my way to the front. Okay, there you have that. Go up to the top hole or the bottom hole, it doesn't really matter. I always go to the top. And then you gotta kind of go back in through this hole, which is a little bit of a tricky poo, but it's gonna work just fine for us today. Sometimes it doesn't, but that one did. Okay, you wanna hold this down, okay? Come down all the way to this bottom hole. Alright, we got that. Okay, in through the bottom hole, or out rather, all the way out, and this is a really nice, ooh, we're in the wrong hole, look at that, oops, wrong hole, come back out, okay, coming back out, there we go, okay, find the other, bottom hole on the closest to the back of the book this time. Okay, there you go. So now the tricky part here is to, you want to go back in through that middle hole. Okay? Okay. And when you do this, you do not want to go through your thread. You don't want to split your thread. Okay? Because that's going to make us unhappy. It just doesn't work. It locks the thread in. You can't move it. You can't tighten this enough to get this nice and tight. Now, what you're going to want is your ends of the thread to be one on each side of this middle part. Okay, great. And then I like to kind of move this back and forth here like that. And that just lets me know that it's not, obviously. Then you can pull that so that they're even. And now you want to tie a nice square knot. And some people like to put a little piece, and this is right over left, left over right. Look at how pretty that pretty pink avocado dyed paper is. You can leave these really long and tie some beads off on them. I'm going to cut them short, but not too short, just short enough that they don't fall out of my book. You can put charms and things on these later, and so it's nice to have a little bit of string there to play with if you want it, and you can always cut it off later, but it's harder to put it back once it's cut off. 1, 2, 3. And I will be back when I have assembled this book, and I will cover the inside of this and show you what we've made with our Masterboard. I hope you guys are following along. Masterboard Madness, you can follow hashtag March Masterboard Madness 2026 is the hashtag. This is hosted by Hazel Annika Design, who is fabulous. Check out her videos, interviews to meet new, fun, and interesting creators. She's always looking for people to interview. You could hit her up for an interview if she hasn't interviewed you yet, and if you know somebody who you would like to know more about, let her know. Oh no! So, my name's Christina. I am Scrapcraft and Stitchery. If you haven't met me before, welcome. I'm happy to have you. Let's see. So, there are lots of creators doing lots of fabulous work on these Masterboards, okay? So, do check them out and see what they're doing and find a little bit of inspiration. I will say that today is Saturday and I'm posting this on Monday. I have seen a lot of people that I don't know following Masterboard Madness. A lot of people that I don't really, and so it's a great way to just check it out and find new creators. Hazel has a playlist of all the creators, and I always love it when people do that. So I will post that playlist, Hazel's playlist, below in the video description if you want to check that out. Otherwise, let's see, this is Monday, March 16th. And Gigi of Journal Gigi. This is a person that I don't follow. Is up tomorrow, and she looks like she has a fabulous channel as well, and I think she's gonna have some fun things to do and see. But I have just seen some great things. Alright, so I have sewn my book together. I made the Masterboard that has become the cover for my newest journal. I am super excited. I'm gonna get to packing this full of Happy Mail. I mean, I made this cover out of Happy Mail and some, scrapbooking paper. And I think this is fabulous and beautiful. This is the paper. It's an embossed paper. I just really liked how it kept the green from here and pulled it over to here. So everything I used on this cover came from Happy Mail and things that people have sent to me. And I love how this came out. I think it's really fun. I think this is a great cover for a happy mail journal. And I really like this binding method with the soft spine for making a nice fat journal that can hold a lot. So I have left this blank so that I can put my birthday cards in here and lots of tuck spaces and things of that nature. So I hope you liked this. I hope that you'll watch Gigi tomorrow and see what she gets up to when she makes a masterboard and shows you what she does with masterboards. So I love making journal covers out of these, and I love the way that this one came out, and I hope that you'll give this a try. And if you do, let me know. And I will see you next time at Scrapcraft and Stitchery. And until then, stitch scrappily and scrap happily. Bye!